Hi everybody, Raging back with another Mechabellum video. In today's video, we're going to be looking at a game that I recently played on stream that relies less on the number of deployments and more on the quality of the positioning of my deployments, as well as some creative mobile beacons. It was a really fun game to play, so I wanted to show it off here on the channel. And it really does highlight the power of the mobile beacon and how to play a position where you're behind on units. So starting out here, my opponent is a speed spec with steel balls and arc lights. The most common thing to pair with those units is crawlers, which I'm banking on. I'm going giant spec with tanks and arc lights. And because I suspect he's probably getting those crawlers, I opt to sell sledgehammers and pick up the round 1 wasp. I'm sure a lot of people have played against this. It really does put you behind on units. So I have 5 units total here. Like, that's my entire deployment. And my opponent already has 7. So I am behind, especially in chaff. So I'm just spreading out my units here because I'm not sure which side he's going to set up on, both or one. But the wasps are a catch-all. And really the importance of round 1 when you go wasp is you just want your wasp to hit level 2. So these wasps will pretty much kill everything and should be able to do that. So we'll just zoom through the first round. And the wasps do hit level 2. This wasp over here is taking the tower as well. So we do take round 1, and we do level the wasp. Round 2, we get some items and advanced missile device. Nano repair kit and advanced missile device look pretty good to me. Advanced missile device because if his steel balls become sort of a problem for me, I can blow them up with that. And nano repair kit because this board looks pretty good with a Wraith on it. And Wraith does pretty well with a nano repair kit. So those are my thoughts. Advanced shield device is really good. Not in this position though, because steel balls just annihilate it. But in general, this is pretty good. In case people don't usually pick that. It's good against like tanks and arc lights and mustangs. They can get stuck shooting it for a while. So my opponent has gone with the photon coating on the steel ball. I have sold the other sledgehammers here. And still just deciding what I want to do. My opponent puts down a missile here, just in case of any wasp cheese. This is a really good play. If you want to stop wasps and you suspect like a jump drive play, just circle your towers with missiles and the wasps will generally run into that. He also put some fangs back here on his flank in case I jump the wasps to the left. He also has a couple packs of crawlers, and I've opted to grab crawlers and arc lights, and we'll developing this flank up here on the left. I have not used the nano repair kit, and I'm going to be jump driving these wasps into this tower. And I actually get a little lucky here because the arc light is able to trigger the missile for me. And because of that, as well as this flank over here, which took out the fang, he has no upshoot again, and so we will be able to take round 2 with the wasp again. Ideally, the wasps get level 3 from this, but I don't think they quite make it. Just barely don't make it. So a couple cheese rounds for us. Very small wins because they're just wasps. And I was already planning on going into Wraith. And now actually we get offered a level 2 Wraith. I figure my opponent's probably going to also take Wraith because it's good against the wasp stuff I've been doing. However, my opponent does not have nano repair kit. And I did save that from round 2. So he's going to protect his tower with the level 2 Wraith here. And he's also going to defend his flank with the Wraith, another Wraith. So he will shut this down. I do grab the Wraith and decide to level this tower to 3 since these steel balls keep taking it, and I'd rather have a debuff of 5 seconds instead of 9. I do move the wasps back off of the flank here. Decide to pick up some chaff for my main board here. I stick the nano repair kit on the Wraith and put it in this forward position over here, which will meet his Wraith here. Mine healing, of course, not his. I stick some crawlers in front of it. And I'm positioning the wasps here on the right, and I'll probably mobile beacon those up to the tower from back here. I kind of want him to do the missile play again, and I want to trigger it with the crawlers. That's why I put the crawlers there. But he does have the Wraith waiting. So they will all die. But he doesn't quite have the DPS to deal with this Wraith. So, like the first couple rounds of the game, we will be winning with a single unit surviving. This time, instead of the Wasp, it's the Wraith with the repair kit. And this is good because the Wraith gets to kill a lot of units, which is good XP. It also, look how much damage we're preventing simply by this one unit living. And the Wraith does hit level 3, which is ideal. So when you're playing with less units, your units do tend to get more levels if you're still winning the round. So it's like, instead of having a lot of units, you're playing tall position. Very high level units. Very few high level units. I'm very susceptible to many things. I'm susceptible to Melting Point and Phoenix. I suspect he's probably going to start getting Phoenixes since they pair really well with his crawlers and steel balls. And I've also picked up super heavy armor on this round, as well as my opponent. And I've elite recruited a level 2 Wraith. And you know I'm going to be slapping that super heavy armor on the Wraith. There, so now this Wraith has 80k health. And even though I do suspect the Phoenix, and they're good at killing the Wraiths, these are some pretty tanky Wraiths. And I'm betting on being able to get through whatever I'm facing to get to the Phoenix at the end. Also, this mobile beacon here has the intention of taking this tower, and I'm going to try and squeak through the crawlers and take the tower. So again, I've only picked up one unit on this round. I really don't have much, right? It's just a couple Wraiths mostly. And we do get the tower, which allows us to kill these steel balls and get some pretty good damage on the Wraith, which also has the super heavy armor. We are taking hits from the Phoenix, but this is healing pretty well, this Wraith over here. It is starting to get pretty low now, though, with the towers going down. And because of that, we will lose the healing Wraith. But now we have the super heavy Wraith. And we've gotten this Wraith very low. So now it's able to take out the Phoenix, and so now that's been 4 rounds where I have a single unit that survives at the end. And it does level, so now I have 2 level 3 Wraiths. And just looking at my board, also efficient tech is offered here, but I go with the missile strike because I kind of want to just take out this Phoenix, which doesn't have enough health to tank the missile. And looking at my board here, it's very sparse, right? Like, I hardly have any chaff. I hardly have any units, really. It's just a few. And my opponent has quite a few units over here. Opponent picks up Elite Marksman on the Phoenix. so that it will do more damage against the Wraiths. Kind of a good idea. Does also get more Phoenixes here to pair with his Steel Balls, which will meet this level 3 Wraith now, which has 120k health. Puts more missiles, just in case I try and put the Wasp over there on the edge, but the Wasp has run its course, and so I've actually sold it on this round. And I really need to decide how to spend this 1200 supplies, because it's on this round that I suspect he will be done with my Wraiths, all my shenanigans here, and he's going to come and try and really, you know, put up a fight. Try and actually take these guys out. So I need to kind of beef up my board a little more. So I go with range on the Wraiths, which now can compete a little better with the Phoenix and also take out Chaff sooner as it approaches them. I add the Wraith here to the center. Some crawlers behind my towers. I still have my mobile beacon. Just kind of deciding where to put my crawlers. Actually level this Arclight and take level 2 on this tower in case he tries to flank me, which he actually is. And I used this mobile beacon to pull the crawlers over to this missile to trigger it on purpose with just a few crawlers. So let's see how these Wraiths are doing now with range. Are able to take out that Phoenix over there as well with the missile strike, which is really good because now this Wraith will definitely survive against this other Wraith. And with the addition of this Wraith in the center, we're able to take out all the Steel Balls before they can kill our towers. So now we don't have to worry about that as much either. The Phoenixes are just now starting to take down the tower. We do end up killing the Wraith on this side. The Phoenixes do take the tower, but they're not going to be able to kill this Wraith. And also, on this side, we're able to trigger this missile. So taking out a few missiles, and all of our Wraiths survive that round. Again. So again, a very creative mobile beacon to knock out missiles with very little resources. Opponent goes mass-produce Melting Point. So this does mean that the Melting Point will be his answer to my Wraiths. But it does come at a health cost when you go mass-produced. So he'll be able to get more of them, but they'll have less health. And he has immediately clicked the energy absorption button, which will increase the HP of the unit by 60% and convert all the damage that it does to HP of its own. So that's a good play. That is a sound answer to the Wraith. I have picked up the Amplifying Core, and I'm deciding how to spend my supply. I've gone with Floating Artillery Array on the Wraith, so now it shoots 8 instead of 4 shots, so twice the DPS on these guys. I stick the Amp Core on this Wraith, and because there's a Phoenix flank here, I'll just defend it with this Wraith over here. Buy a couple packs of crawlers. This is sort of me. I'm getting more Wraiths, and I'm going heavier into them. It makes sense for me too, since I have a couple level 3 ones. And just grabbing some more chaff, and I'm just going to see what my opponent, how he plans to take me out. So I will see that he has Melting Point this round as his answer. And still have my mobile beacon to use. I also opt to go for speed. Speed might help me get these towers now that are more heavily defended. I put some flanking crawlers here with the intention of trying to take out that missile. And this is my beacon here. I'm going to go straight up the center and then into this back tower over here. Let's see how this works out. So we will clear that flank pretty easy. But his Melting Point will totally destroy this Wraith. Now this Wraith on the left, though, is doing a lot better. It's managed to take out everything over here. It will take out this level 2 Wraith as well. This Wraith, going up the middle, was able to take out a Phoenix and level. Taking down the tower. But This mobile Wraith actually, even though it took the tower debuff was a little wasted because it was moving away. So because of that, we weren't able to take down any more of his guys, and this melting point would just be too much. So my opponent finally takes a round on round 6. He immediately picks up Fire Badgers here on round 7, and I'm really deciding what I want to do here. The Mustangs look okay, but if he decides to go like armor or something, they do get shut down pretty heavily, like on the Wraith. And if I go with like Tarantula, I fear that they won't be able to get through as much. The Fire Badgers look okay, but the Wraiths are already sort of doing chaff clear pretty well. So my eye sort of wanders over to the Sandworm. Since these are mass-produced melting points, they do have less health. And even though melting points are kind of good against the Sandworm against mass-produced melting point has a much better chance. And this Wraith over here on the left, level 4 now. Opponent has picked up 2 more melting points to try and take out the rest of my Wraiths. I'm going Replicate on Sandworm. I've got 3 Sandworms now. Grab a couple Crawlers to support the Sandworms, just so they don't immediately get killed by the melting point, basically. I want them to run in here. And we're going to sort of just take this huge glob and throw it at that tower. See if it works. And they're replicating, so when they come back up out of the ground, there will be a little larva, and that will also distract the melting point. So melting point is locked on this Wraith here, and is able to kill it. But that's a lot of Sandworms. And we're able to take down the level 2 Wraith. And now this Wraith over here on the left is locked on, but really good tower timing. And because of that, this is a level 4 Wraith. We're able to take down that level 1 melting point, as well as this level 1 melting point. So the worms are good, and they all live, so it's a lot of damage. So we were sort of just waiting for a while, right? Like, let's take a look at the board for a second. So at one point, I just had a couple Wraiths here with some items. I had like a pack of Crawlers here and this little flank up here, and we were facing melting points and phoenixes and wraiths and fangs and all this stuff, right? But because we had good items and levels on the wraiths, we were able to keep taking the rounds with like a single unit winning. Now that we've been gifted the sandworms, we're able to definitively win the rounds because it's significantly more damage from the giants. And they also pair super well with the wraith. The wraith is able to clear the chaff on the ground, which clears the way for the sandworm to take out the melting point. So getting back to the round, my opponent here has taken barrier, and he's thrown it on the melting point here, his level 2 melting point, and try and keep it safer. It's also picked up some more fire badgers and has gone napalm, so now he wants to be burning all this chaff here that helps support the sandworm. It's a pretty good idea. Also put some chaff here in front. I suspect I can win the game here since he only has 1294 health. So I really just need a few sandworms and a couple wraiths to live to close out the game. So I'm thinking about how to do that right now. Opponent has also taken diffraction on the melting point. Now, I think that diffraction on the melting point is a good play against the sandworm, especially with the healing tech. But again, these are mass-produced melting points, so they do not have as much health, and they don't ramp up the damage as quickly as normal melting points. And so because of that, the diffraction will take a while to actually start working. I take a level on the level 4 Wraith here, and I also throw down 3 missiles with the intention of trying to just immediately take out these fire badgers. But because he's put crawlers here in the front, all 3 will hit the single pack of crawlers, so that won't work, but that is the idea behind that. because I'm trying to just get that tower sooner. That's why I was opting to do the triple missile. I have sold the big level 4 Wraith that's been helping us with super heavy armor. Decided it's run its course, and I'm going to add to this little pool of sandworms and try and just beef it up to get to the tower over here. Also, when Sandworm is level 2 and has Replicate, level 2 larvas come out of the ground, which do have more health and attack as well. So those will be helping us all the way over to the tower. And when they emerge, they'll be distracting the melting point. The melting point will latch to the larva before the Sandworm. And I get another level 2 one. This dude, this level 2 Sandworm with super heavy has 257,000 health. It's pretty significant. I actually grab another Wraith. So even though I had a Wraith, I sell it because I wanted the money to fund the Sandworms, and then I just add another Wraith to help sort of clear the way, since this is my strong side now. Also, on that round, I decided to take the deployment module and put this Wraith back here in the corner, since it wasn't doing much over here. I've also loaned and taken temp speed and range, and so this is my big last push. Let's see how it works. There's not as much to stop the steel balls over here, so we need to get this melting point quickly. And as you can see, with 5 sandworms, it's just a slaughter there. Actually able to take everything down, and sandworms are able to burrow, keeping them safe during the tower debuff. And now they emerge and take out this guy in like one chomp, which is insane. We're able to take out the tower. An 8 gun on the level 4 Wraith, still very relevant here. They are able to get this tower down. So we have a couple sandworms still under the ground over here. And all we need to do is take out this melting point. And like I said, we only needed a few sandworms and some Wraiths to live to win, and that does happen. Just barely. I think if my opponent has one more turn, he probably starts to turn it around since he can get range on the melting points. And he can also like beef up the front a lot more. But we were able to make the play work and get in there, take the tower and take down the melting points and get the win. And so a very unconventional game where there's a lot of waiting around. I was just sort of messing around with some Wraiths and some Crawlers, a few units. My opponent's board was always more dense than me the entire game. And then we got the perfect drop with the Sandworm, which paired really well with the Wraith. The Wraith is able to clear all the stuff on the ground with the Sandworm to get to the melting point, take the towers, and then continue to assist one another on the way to finishing off the remaining melting points. So that's going to do it for today's video. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.